Peyton Watson this season has been showing all the flashes that give validation to the people who have believed in his potential since draft day. He's only averaging 6 points and 2.5 rebounds, but there is plenty to marvel at when looking at his game. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's talk about how Peyton Watson is starting to turn the corner. Prior to this game tonight versus the Raptors, he's been averaging 13.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 2.7 assists on 60% shooting from the field in each of those 3 games, 2 threes made in each of those games on at least 40%, and he has a total of 8 assists over this span, which are a couple of things, that and the 3-point shooting that I will touch on in a little bit. I've really liked the variety in his buckets that he's been showing. Being trusted more with the ball in his hands and being more confident in his drives when he is handling the ball from the perimeter and driving into the paint. He has gotten a lot more confident in his spot up 3-point shooting, pulling up for his own mid-range shots. He's pulling up for his own floaters. He's getting into the seams of the defense and trying to make his own shot happen. Those are a couple of good things that I've really liked seeing from him this season that have shown me that there is growth happening there. He's lethal as a transition player, both on and off ball, specifically off ball, because he is so athletic, he is so quick and fast that he just gets out and run. He's oftentimes the first person down when he's not getting the rebound on a fast break. And even when he is on ball, bringing the ball up and making a play for himself and teammates, we see him getting a lot more confident in his passing ability overall. Like this play here, the fancy jump pass off the fast break to Zeke Naji for a slam. Small, it's effective, but he's getting confident. You see it in his face. You see it in the type of plays that he's making. And as we segue into more of his on-ball play, he's been a lot more intentional with the drives to the paint and specifically incorporating a lot more 2-step finishes into his game. His handle is noticeably tighter, which is important because, as I mentioned, he has taken more of an on-ball role this season as he's been trusted with more minutes. And in the offense, in the half court, he's been slotting in really seamlessly as a cutter when playing with the starters and playing with the bench unit. Like this play here, timing his backdoor cut or his dunker spot cut with Jokic's catch, which is a signature play in the Nuggets offense, and seeing him be able to pull off this very common, very frequently ran play for this Nuggets offense gives me a lot of happiness inside and a lot of hope and a lot of confidence that he is happy with how the offense is moving and happy with what his role is in the offense so far, that he's willing to do the little things. Cutting on time is really overlooked because a lot of people aren't really watching the cutters. People are watching the ball. It's really impressive seeing how well he knows to get to a spot and when to get to a spot and how to be effective in whatever spot he's in. It's all green flags for Peyton Watson in that regard. So why do I think he's been better offensively over these past 3 games and this season in general? Well, number one, he's obviously been getting more minutes. I mean, he's averaging about 17 minutes per game this season. 2, he's trusting the system. He's cutting constantly and moving around constantly and getting around the ball, even if it means he's not going to get his own bucket. And that is a really, really invaluable trait. Trust the system that delivered a championship, and you're going to find yourself having more opportunities. And so far, that's what's been going on for Peyton Watson. On the other side of this, I do want to talk about his defense because that is kind of his calling card. He's been trusted a lot this season by Malone to take on some of the best perimeter scorers and just scorers in general that we have seen in this league recently. And those include Kawhi Leonard, those include Paul George, Kevin Durant, those include Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Devin Booker, De'Aaron Fox. Like, the list goes on. He has been tasked with guarding some pretty big names. And I think throughout the season, bird's eye view, top down, I think he's been pretty damn good when given those assignments. And Michael Malone has been very open about trusting him. And he's also been very open about challenging Peyton Watson to be better, not just as a defender, but as a player as a whole.
And, I met with Peyton the other day, and I told him that I felt that he came into this season assuming he was going to get back in minutes. And I said, don't ever assume anything. You got to earn what you get. He has tremendous potential. He's got upside. He can do things a lot of guys on our team can do because of his natural, God-given abilities. But I don't want him skipping steps. I'm going to be really hard on Peyton Watson because if he's going to be the player that we all need him to be, I have to make sure I'm demanding greatness from him every single day. So I told him, I'm going to give you those minutes to start the season. Now it's up to you to keep those minutes.
To earn minutes on this Denver Nuggets team, you need to put the work in on the defensive side of the ball. Michael Malone is a defensive coach. He loves it when guys come in and hustle and show that they're willing to commit to both sides of the ball. Peyton Watson has always been a defender. Michael Malone has always said that he doesn't care how many shots Peyton Watson misses as long as the effort and the tries and the attempts are there on both ends. And he doesn't lose sight of what the rest of the game becomes just because his shot isn't falling. Peyton Watson has heard that and internalized it and is now becoming a stout defender, someone who has all defense written all over him multiple times in his career. We can take his assignment versus KD, for example. 1 of 9 for Kevin Durant. The man is gifted, and Peyton Watson, a sophomore out of UCLA, was able to disrupt so many different shots. Now, I will say that watching the tape, some of those misses were just Kevin Durant missing. And a lot of those shots he normally does make, and Peyton Watson didn't really make that much of an impact. But Peyton did make it much more difficult on a lot of those other shots than I think it otherwise would have been had someone else been guarding him. For example, this play here, he's sliding his feet, keeping his arm attached to Kevin Durant. He's gonna plant his foot on the KD turnaround, keep his hand in the ball pocket for KD, and then he's gonna have a really good contest that leads to a miss. That is great instinct. That's knowing where to keep your hands. That's knowing how effective your length can be against someone who is such a lethal scorer. Again, another play here a little bit later in the game. This is just a clean, simple contest, but it shows off some of the times where he doesn't even need to jump to contest the shot really well. Moving over to his matchup against Paul George, he managed to hold him to just 1 of 5 shooting when he was the closest defender. We all know PG loves to create the space, whether it's with a push-off or whether it's with a step back or an elbow or whatever. He's really good at creating space in the mid-range area and on the perimeter. Peyton Watson's length and his lateral quickness helped negate a lot of those factors for PG when they were matched up. Peyton Watson is going to fall for the pump fake ever so slightly. He's going to get back into position quickly, back on his feet. He's going to plant his right foot really hard on the PG step back so that he doesn't lose balance and that he doesn't lose his position. He's going to fall for another small pump fake, and this is a foul drawing attempt from PG, but he's going to keep his body out of the way, arms up, vertical, and he's going to avoid getting a foul called on him. All season long, he's been relying on his length and his instinct to make an insane amount of plays on the defensive side of the ball. Some plays that he probably shouldn't be making or shouldn't be able to make. He fits with the starters in more of an off-ball cutting role, which he has been excelling at. He fits with the bench, taking on more of a ball handling role within the offense and as the unit's best overall defender. And if he continues at this pace, he will prove to be a vital playoff piece come April. And if he continues to add more moves to his arsenal on offense and defense, he'll start to capture the eyes of the basketball world even more than he already is.